Welcome to Africa Diaspora News Channel. In 1974, the United States government came together, sat down, and developed a secret plot. A plan that signaled Nigeria and said we have to control its population, control its people, else they're going to be a problem in the future. Well, sounds wild, but it's true. It's called the National Security Study Memorandum 200, otherwise known as the Kissinger Report. Although it's 51-year-old, but it still controls Nigeria's reality. Now let's break this down. Now here's what happened. Henry Kissinger, the then US Secretary of State, ordered this report. They looked into 13 countries that could limit US access, that could threaten US access to their own resources, and Nigeria was a part of it. I mean, not threaten the country's access to US, but US access to their own resources. So Nigeria's population was looked into. They felt if it wasn't curbed, they would at a point want to divert their resources to their own people. They would want to maximize the resources in Nigeria for Nigerians. So they looked for a way to limit the growing population. They did not want them to grow to a point where they would fight for their own resources, for their own people, for Nigerians. Now, according to a quote, if Nigeria's people grew too numerous, they might consume too much of their own oil and gas and mineral resources, which Washington considered essential for its own prosperity. The report concluded that population control wasn't about humanitarian aid, it was about US national security. They wanted to secure their foothold on these countries. So they looked for a way to reduce population. And at the time, Nigeria's population was just a little above 60 million. So they projected rapid growth. That's the report projected rapid growth. And they came together to ensure that they find a way to make sure that this rapid growth doesn't come to pass. Because if it does, certain minerals wouldn't go to US anymore. It would then be used for these countries. I mean, Nigeria would want to use its oil for Nigerians. Nigeria would want to use its resources for Nigerians and not hand it over to the US like before. And what was the solution? Simple. Let's check it out. Utilize foreign aid, health programs, develop partnerships to promote fertility reduction, and slow population growth in high-risk countries. This wasn't thoughtfulness, it was resource management, but not for Nigeria's benefit, but for America's. A way to control the population so that every resources comes to their table at the end of the day. But this report, 51-year-old, still lives on. The legacy still lives on. And how, you might ask? It's obvious. It's in our everyday existence. Should we name it? Let's go on. An investigation by West Africa Weekly report that Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, PIVSA, CIFF, USAID, UNFPA, the World Bank, Gavi, and others are flooding sub-Saharan Africa, especially Nigeria, with long-acting contraceptives like Cyanopress injectables, implants, and IUDs. These are cheap, subsidized, and targeted almost to low and lower middle-income African nations. While branded as what? Empowerment, this is a practice fraught with coercion. Contracts include fertility targets and quotas, and program design is centralized. Now let's look at this quote. They call it a choice, but the only option they push is long-acting contraception. That's not a choice. That's pressure. And again, it's colonization through healthcare. Africans are not driving these programs. They are driving Africans. Now, this is 2025, right? And the population has gone above 220 million in Nigeria. Yet, the unemployment is disturbing. The youth are distraught. And then we ask, why is this? What is happening? This Kissinger report is still our reality. And then we have our president, who happens to be indirectly, one way or the other, or directly working these things out. What they have already planned. His regime is not to break the cycles, but it's taking us deeper, deeper, deeper. I mean, we are sinking deeper into all these strategies these guys actually planned. They did not do it in Lagos, Nigeria. No, they did not. Where did they do it? The report was cooked up in Washington, London. I mean, our future was laid at the table of these guys in Washington, London. Whilst we in Nigeria are over here, and our president, our leaders, our governments are doing what? Working directly or indirectly into what they all already have in plan. All that they are doing, making us believe it's aid, it's just a way to reduce the number so that at the end of the day, they get their quota of our resources, of course, is what they want. And our governments cannot see this. But sometimes they actually see this and they still do what they are doing. What did our government do? Remove fuel subsidy. It doesn't benefit us. It's not benefiting Nigerians. Rather, foreign companies are enjoying from this. The valued naira. Naira has no value. The Nigerian naira has no value. Is that all? Our oil is being shipped, carried away into foreign lands, whilst we cannot even refine our oil. Nothing is done to benefit Nigerians. Can you see that these things are actually for the benefit of these guys? And these are the policies, these are the plans that line up with the Kissinger report. Keep them weak, keep them on the ground, keep their back on the ground so they are incapable of taking care of themselves. And at the end of the day, they rely on us to help them. That's what it's about. And then we trade our resources for their help, for their aid. We feel we need. And here's the funny thing, when US population grows, they call it strength, they call it innovation power, but when Nigeria's population grows, they call it instability, they call it overpopulation. And let's be clear, the threat isn't the Kissinger report or Nigeria's population. It's our leaders who still play and serve foreign powers. They still serve these foreigners, they serve these guys, our colonizers, and they follow their Washington playbook instead of writing their own history and story and serving the people of Nigeria. I mean, serving the citizens. And I tell you, family, Nigeria's future would not be secured by reduction of our population, rather reduction of our dependence on these guys, on these foreigners, on their aid, on whatsoever they have to offer. We can be sufficient. But our leaders, and when Nigeria rises, when the youth are ready to take over Nigeria, Nigeria will be fully liberated. But for now, I think we are still playing. What do you have to say about the story? Comment your thoughts and do not forget to share, like, subscribe, and turn on your notification button. My name is Lynient Akotonou.